G'day there, this is a little video to show the 3 reports that I've included so far in the Training Diary Manager. The first one is the player report, which has probably, if anything, got too much in it. This is the one that you would have seen before. It simply has selectable measurements of load, training volumes, etc. down one side, other measurements of wellness down the other side, and so on. A graph that demonstrates training duration, training loads, and so on and so on. There are various ways to modify these graphs, taking values off, putting them back on, changing how many weeks are shown on these load graphs, or moving the date period that these graphs apply to. Equally so, you can modify the units, be it load or duration, for the pie graphs and so on. May be wise to trim this report down a little bit, but I'll certainly look forward to your feedback on that. The second is the first of the 2 new ones. So one is the summary for the S&C coach, which really is supposed to help you with your prescription as much as anything. So again, it's quite simple, but it's got some key things on there. Select the week at the top. There's quite a lot of data for week 2, so I'll put that in there. So you can see previous weeks. This up-down button simply changes the measurement that is being graphed. The red line is the year average, the black line is the week amount. Below that, a series of monitoring variables. This list here, same concept, up and down arrow shows for each player what their response was to that particular variable. Further down we have a jump ratio using the iPhone app that has been in place for a few months now with netball. There are only grey bars here, but there is actually conditional colours on these lines. So if someone had a ratio that was seen to be positive, I think the threshold that we've set at the moment is 100 or above, that would be black. If it was below 90, it would be red, and if it was between 90 and 100, it would be grey, to indicate positive, negative and marginal. We can adjust those thresholds very easily in the control panel. So that's the S&C summary to date. The coach summary again is relatively simple. At the top there is a training load or training duration, composition for this week and previous weeks. As for the previous report, you can have more or less weeks shown on the graph simply by clicking the buttons. This drop down box allows you to select which wellness variable you would like to see on the graph here. As you can see, this particular one, sleep, has got a good example for us in that there are 3 athletes who have good sleep scores, which is 7 or higher, 3 athletes which are marginal, between 4 and 7, and 2 athletes who are negative in that they have a sleep score below 4. So those coloured bars are present throughout the different wellness, depending on which variables you choose. Further down is a larger breakdown of the wellness statistics. These columns are user defined, so can be changed to your desire. The only one which is unusual is the weight trend column. As you'll see here, it shows the average weight for this athlete across the week, 72 in the case of Anna Thompson. The negative number indicates that she has lost weight with respect to her previous week's weight. So I've put in a margin of error. I believe it was 2%. If they are within that margin of error, then it'll show an equal sign like it does next to Casey Williams. If it is greater or less than, it will show a plus or a minus, as long as that change is outside the margin of error. So you'll see a large list of names here, and the three that stick out are 3 hockey players on the bottom. There's no data for them, but their names are still there. If we go to the control panel, we will see all of the names. I can uncheck 1, 2, 3 hockey players, and as we go back to the coach report, we see they've disappeared from this table, they've disappeared from this graph, and all the other dynamic graphs as well. So that allows potentially you to have a large squad of athletes in there, but produce reports only for a group of those if required. So they're the reports to date. Some editing no doubt is needed, but some feedback would be appreciated, and I can get onto those changes immediately.